Hello, good people. Welcome once again to More Sports. This is Jesse, anchoring the show. Once again, I've got bad news. Peter Rufai is no more. It was yesterday, 6 o'clock. He died after a protracted illness. This is arguably the best Nigerian goalkeeper ever to wear the national shirt. How he died in Lagos. It was on the same day that Yota of Liverpool died, and a Palestinian, footballer died as well. So I don't know what was wrong with yesterday, but we lost a lot of people. So let's focus on Peter Rufai, for today. This guy brought joy to all of us who knew him, especially any Nigerian that is from 50-year-olds, now let's say 25 years old upwards. They have heard about Peter Rufai called Dodo Mayana. Let me share my screen so that we can go over, certain things. Right. So this is from BBC site, and the tribute is being paid to Rufai, who died at the age of 61. Uh, he's been hailed as a giant of football. You know, he's called Dodo Mayana. And why do they call him Dodo Mayana? I can share that story with you. So we all knew back in uh, 91, 92, when um, Clemens Westerhoff was made the national coach of Nigeria. He loved going to Portugal. There's a resort in Faro, Portugal, where he does the camping, for Nigeria. So Westerhoff brought quite a lot of forward thinking to the management of the sport in Nigeria. A lot of these players were playing in Europe, and it was part of his design to make sure that the best talents from Nigeria, the best talents, it doesn't just want to take talents from Nigeria before they've established themselves, but established talents were taken and, given leeway to go and play in Europe or the US or wherever the league was better. Not only can they get used to modern ways of playing, but they can also earn good money, and the team can improve. So Faro was a preferred destination, camping point for Vesterhoff. I don't know why. I think during that time it was said that the weather in Faro, Portugal was close, very close to what we had in Lagos, Nigeria. So it was on one of those, training, schemes. So I'll read to you how Peter Rufai said it himself in an interview. In 2015, he said, "The name Dodo Mayana was given to me after many years of service with the Super Eagles. We were on a training tour of Portugal, and during some of the training sessions, which I used as a medium to showcase my talent to the coach, that he can depend on me as a reliable substitute or first team player. I performed extremely good. The coach then was so technical that he would spot exactly 5 meters away from you. So I make sure I saved all my balls during the session to the extent that I stretched myself beyond limit to grab balls going over the bar or inches away. Therefore, my performance was amazing to the Portuguese fans around the stadium to the extent that they were clapping continuously and hailing all my moves. So when the referee, Otto Gloria, blew the final whistle to indicate the end of session, the fans watching the training session shouted, "No, no, no, no." They wanted him to continue the training session because they were enjoying the antics of Peter Rufai at the goal so much. Then Peter Fregene called on Peter Rufai and it said Dodo. That was the nickname that was given to him. So the fans heard it and shouted Dodo, which means continue in Portuguese language. Then one of the fans shouted at Rufai and said, Dodo Mayana. So Mayana means tomorrow. So Dodo means continue. Mayana means tomorrow. So the fans were saying, we love what you're doing so much that we don't want you to stop. So if you're stopping today, are you able to do this thing tomorrow for us? So then he said, he replied them, Amayana Dodo. That means we'll continue tomorrow. And that's how the name came into existence, because the fans referred to me as Dodo Mayana. So that is the where the name Dodo Mayana came from. So he was out of talent, fans who were not even Nigerian fans. They were just football fans in Portugal, where the Eagles have been camping. And they saw the fantastic thing that Dodo Mayana did with the ball. And he was that good. I can tell you that Peter Rufai, at his peak, will walk into any national team in the world or any football team on the face of the earth, and he will take number one shirt. That was how good he was. Him and Thomas Nkono were the preeminent goalkeepers in Africa during his time. And, this is a fantastic story. Just to let you know that the name did not even come from Dodo Mayana. His nickname did not come from Super Eagles fans themselves. It didn't come from the league, clubs. We'll come to those ones that he played for. But it was just neutral fans who saw that this guy was good. And I would like to chip in something at this moment, that ordinary fans in Nigeria connected so well with Peter Rufai and that, team of the era, because they had access to them. If you remember, back in those days, the spiritual home of Nigerian football was a national stadium in Surulere, Lagos. And fans would go there just to watch training sessions. Sometimes they do get up to 40 to 50,000 people, leaving everything else behind, just to watch their favorite, stars play for the Eagles. And they're quite knowledgeable. And that was a point in time that Rufai had issues with the coach, Westerhoff. Why? Westerhoff developed a soft spot for Wilfred Agbonabare, and he was playing him. And Wilfred was not at the level that Rufai was. And probably because they wanted to get Wilfred a team in Europe, he continued playing him. And people saw that the quality of play was diminishing. So it was the fans at the National Stadium who said to Westerhoff, we will stop supporting you if you don't play the best hands and the best legs for the Eagles. And there was nothing Clemens Westerhoff could do. He had to bring Rufai back into the team as number one. And that suggests to you how fantastic and how great Peter Rufai has been. So let's quickly go over how he started. He started for one of the most respected and the most followed teams in Nigeria, especially in Lagos. You know the team that I'm talking about, the Stationery Stores of Lagos. That is the Adebayo Babes. So Peter Rufai started his, playing career with stationery stores. That was between 1980 and 1984. He also played for Femo Scorpions of Nigeria. And from there, he moved to the neighboring country, to play for Dragons of Lomé. A lot of us may not understand that team anymore, or what football used to be in West Africa back in the days. But the Dragons of Lomé were one of the biggest names in club football in Africa in the 70s and the 80s. So to go and play for Dragons of Lomé was not a small deal. It was a big thing. So Rufai moved to that place, played for Dragons of Lomé, and from there, he was scouted. So he ended up in Belgium, where he played for Le Coruña from 1987 to 1991, and then he played for Beveren in Belgium from 1991 to 1993. And then from there, he moved to Netherlands, where he played for Go Ahead Eagles. And when he left that place, he went to SC Farense in Portugal. And he was instrumental in them qualifying for their first UEFA League qualification. And later, he moved to Gil Vicente in Portugal as well. In 1997, he briefly played for Hércules in Spain, and also he played for Deportivo La Coruña from 1997 to 1999. So that has been the career of our dear Peter Rufai. Let's quickly see a video of him in action. When he was playing for Hércules and Deportivo, just to refresh our memories, of how good and great this guy is.
Raimundo Saporta. Atención al peligro, el disparo, Rufai, corner. Disparo rápido, sorprendente, hondo. Considerado obvio para estos dos equipos. El gol a verá que quema la clasificación, el agobio. Es un jugador que le gusta de la posibilidad. Nos contaban antes de comenzar el partido asimilar un poco.
Tiempos salga con una idea más clara sobre
falta, atención a esta falta. Raúl García de Loza, hay que explicarlo.
Sí, efectivamente el portero, o sea, el árbitro entiende que el portero...
So you can see how agile, how commanding, and how imperious Peter Rufai was in goal. When he was playing, and you are a fan of Nigeria Eagles, you knew that you have one of the safest hands in world football, manning your goalpost. That is Peter Rufai. That is Peter Rufai for you. So he is a fantastic human being. And for Nigeria, his international career, he has 65 appearances. So he's got 65 caps for Nigeria, and that was earned between 1983 and 1998. He's also a goal scorer. He scored a penalty in Nigeria's 6-0 win over Ethiopia in July 1993. So he was a runner-up in AFCON. In 1984, Nigeria got to the final, lost it. In 1988, Nigeria got to the final and lost it. It was in goal. And I could tell you for a fact that the 1998 loss was actually a robbery. Because years later, the midfielder scored a perfectly good goal. So the game ended 1-0 in favor of Nigeria. But, African football, we're not going to go into that today. Years later, the referee came out and CAF came out and said that goal is a perfectly good goal. Nigeria was denied. And the guy who scored that goal is dead also now. His name was Henry Nwosu. He used to play for ACB, Football Club of Lagos. And when Nigeria eventually won the 1994 AFCON in Tunisia, Rufai was there. He was at the goalpost. And, you know, he had a notable save in the semi-final of 1988. And again in 1994, you saw some of his, you know, saves. At the World Cup, he was the first choice, you know, goalkeeper. He actually captained the team as well, you know, in France 98. So he led Nigeria into the last 16 in both World Cups, you know, which is not a mean feat for an African team to get to the quarterfinals of the World Cup. He also represented Nigeria at the 1980 and 1988 Olympic Games. So he was one of the pioneers, you know, of Nigerian players in Europe. These were the guys who opened the doors for the generations of the guys that we see now. So after he retired, you know, he founded Star of Football Academy, both in Lagos and Spain. He was mentoring young goalkeepers. And he served as a coordinator of the Nigeria's under-23, you know, team in his post-playing days. So we knew that he was healed he was healed. He was managing some kind of sickness. We knew that. But we didn't expect that it was going to go so soon. And that is where we are with Peter Rufai. I would also like to, you know, let us see before, I think it was a year before he died, he appeared on a TV show. So let's see, you know, him in real life as well. Let me share my screen with you and then see him talk in flesh after retirement.
Have been performing. Goalkeepers have been taking off to save balls on unimaginable situation that you say, how did he do? How did the goalkeeper get there to do those things? They've been doing it. And when you see it today, if we want to say goalkeepers are more special today because of science, then my first question, how many goalkeepers have Nigeria raised since after my set and Vincent Iyama to today? It's like when you come to industries, manufacturing, you say, this industry, they've just manufactured this. They've just manufactured this. They've just manufactured something new. This other company, they've just introduced a new dish. A new dish, a fine dish. Then, if we now say goalkeepers are doing better than them, why are we not seeing them in a populated nation like Nigeria? Goalkeepers have been performing. Goalkeepers have been...
So, you can see him. He's a very, very intelligent human being. When he finished playing, just to let you know, a few facts about Peter Rufai as a person away from football, right? Peter Rufai, born on August 24, 1963 in Oshodi, Lagos, was born into royalty. His father was a tribal king in Idimo, Lagos State. And when he finished his playing career, he was asked to inherit the throne, but Rufai famously declined, you know, because he still wanted to pursue his passion for football. That is how dedicated he was to the game. So anyone seeing Peter Rufai, you know, Peter Rufai was, when he was shown to the world at the World Cup in 1994, everyone thought he was a bit of a grouch. He didn't smile, but people did not realize that Peter Rufai was one of the first goalkeepers in the world, way before the German goalkeepers that we knew now, to show so much dedication to his job that when he is in front of that goalpost, he doesn't brook no nonsense. He wants to do a job and he wants to do it professionally. He wants to stand out as a goalkeeper. Way before goalkeepers were given, their flowers in the game. Peter Rufai knew that this was my profession. I need to make my goalkeeping as equally important as being a number 9 in the game. And that's who Peter Rufai was for you. So, but if you have you seen him talk? He's a soft-spoken gentleman. That's what he is. That's who he is. And after if you've met Peter Rufai, everyone who've met him has always commented about how humble he is. He's going to shake everybody's hand. He's going to stay. He's going to listen to you. That is who he is. And do you know that after retiring from professional football, Rufai returned to the classroom in 2023, enrolling at the National Institute of Sports in Lagos to obtain formal coaching qualifications. It was part of his broader effort to give back to the game through training and mentoring. So that's how dedicated to the sport and to life that Peter Rufai was. And he himself said, his 20-year-long professional career, we know that football, the goalkeepers do generally, as a rule of thumb, have longer playing careers than outfield players. But to spend 20 years of active game time at the top is no mean feat. It takes someone who is dedicated, who has unwavering discipline, focus, and drive to always give 100%. So that is Peter Rufai. He performed best under pressure. So that is a guy that we lost. And oh my God, the news of his death has been broadcasted wide across the globe. It was on ESPN. If you go to Fabrizio Romano's page, it was announced. People knew this guy as one of the greatest in the world. And I think the best football team that Nigeria ever produced was in 1994 Super Eagles. They were the 1994 Super Eagles. And, that is the team there. You can see it. That team should have gone to the semi or finals of the game. It's a debate for another day, but infighting among the officials affected the players, and that was why they lost focus. But that was the most successful and most entertaining, most professional, most awarded, all-conquering Super Eagles Nigeria ever produced. So it's such a shame that we had to lose him at this point. If he went back to class in 2023, just 2 years ago, it meant that he still felt that he had so much to give the sport in Nigeria. He wanted to contribute desperately. He forfeited the throne. He's a prince. He forfeited the throne to make sure that he paid adequate attention to football and sports. So on that basis, I would like to just show how he's been remembered by those he played for. So if you look at this, if you look at your screen, you see the headline, FG redeems 28 years pledge, allocates houses to 1994 Super Eagles. And that was on the, if you see the 7th of March, 2022. Now, one of the guys who came out to say his tribute to Peter Rufai is the Nigerian president. Although he was not the one who made a promise when this team won the Nations Cup and qualified for the World Cup and went on to get to the second round of the World Cup. But the government is still the government. Do you know that it took them how many years? 28 years to redeem a pledge for a block of flat. 28 years. That is shameful. That is shameful. Okay, you gave him the keys to the flat 2 years ago, and he died afterwards. So what has he gained from that? What has he gained from that? So today is not a day, today's the day that we want to, this is a tribute to Rufai. But we still have to, show these things. Right. Let me go to the NFF page to see how the NFF is mourning Peter Rufai. So this is the NFF page. NFF mourns Nigeria goalkeeping legend Peter Rufai at 61. Now, look at what they've written here. Number one, okay, I'll get to that. The NFF General Secretary, Dr. Mohammed Sanusi, said, this is really, really shocking. Peter Rufai dead? What happened? I'm perplexed. We did not even know that he had been ill. We earnestly pray to God Almighty to grant him eternal rest and to comfort all his loved ones, as well as the entire Nigerian football family. Please, spare me. The NFF does not have a registry, a database of people who have represented it. The NFF does not have a working relationship. It's just like Liverpool saying, oh, who is it? Like who was the player that was ill at that point in time? Oh, Steven Gerrard is ill, and we don't know that, he's in the hospital. Anything that happens to him happens to the brand of Liverpool Football Club. Do you understand what I mean? The NFF General Secretary should not be denying or lying. I don't know what he is. But what it shows to us, we knew. Everybody who knew Peter Rufai knew that he's been battling one type of sickness or another that's undisclosed. So please, what you're just, showing to us, what we can gain from what he has just said now, is that they don't care about these ex-footballers. They don't want to know about their health. They have not asked you to pay for their hospital bills. Just be in the know and care about this talent. These guys have brought joy to millions and millions of people around the world. When they need you, be there for them. Even if it's to check up on them. Hello, how are you doing? I'm Okachi, how are you doing? We see on social media every day. It was the other day, it was Christian Chuku, before he died, that it was the ex-footballers who are paying visits to them while they are ill or sick. Why do they have to keep doing this social media crowdfunding? Why? The other day it was Humphrey. No, it was Henry Inwusu, the guy who scored that goal that was disallowed in Morocco 88. How can that happen? How can that happen? Okay, I think Governor Fashola of Lagos was able to get him accommodation and all of that. But why do you allow these icons to languish in poverty, in sickness? Are you saying that you cannot pay some amount of money in health insurance to take care of these people? Are you saying that you can afford a few hundreds of thousands? Just pay insurance. We don't know. So I'm really shocked. Even when you look at the total story, the author is new admin, is unknown. There was no historical record of what this guy has done for the Nigerian Football Association or Federation. All they had to say about him was that the Nigerian football firmament turned pale on Thursday evening after it was confirmed that the country's 94 and until FIFA World Cup first choice goalkeeper had died in Lagos. And that's it. There was no reference to the clubs he's played for. If you go on here, I have been trying for since the news broke yesterday, and we did the Jota story. We've been trying to comb the internet, go to the Football Association to see if they got clips of Rufai in action. They don't have that. Even this website, I've got a lot to say about it, but let's keep it away from the topic of today. So I don't understand why one of your stars is going to die. You don't have all of this information at your fingertips. Videos, statistics, number of clubs, information that you should just pick up and, put it in there. We care about these guys because they brought us so much joy. We keep telling you guys that you are administrators of Nigeria's joy, because a lot of Nigerians get their moments of joy not from your government, not from the economy, but from their sporting heroes. That's where they get their validation from. Peter Rufai is more than an icon. Peter Rufai is a footballing royalty in Nigeria. So, God forbid, when Segun Odegbami goes to be with the Lord, maybe in 20 years' time or 30 years' time, are we going to come to your website and we don't find some of the key points of the game they had? Peter Rufai said that the game in 1998 World Cup gave him so much sorrow. We don't have clips of that. FIFA has got the clips. You don't have clips. You just have your website. You don't have databases. You don't have royalty-free images that we could use, that journalists could use to spread the gospel of Nigerian football, African football. Okay. Anyway, let's leave that. This is not a good way. Words are not enough to remember Rufai. There's even no picture. This is just a picture that has been circulating. There's no collage of pictures of Rufai in the t-shirts or in the jerseys of the Nigerian team. Off of the top of my head, I know I can see Rufai in about 5 type of jerseys. One that is pink, one that is white, one that is yellow. I mean, the goalkeeper's kit that he wore from time to time. Why is that? Why is that? So the NFF has not lived up to expectation. So let's see what others have done. The clubs that he has played for. I will, let's go to the team that he played for. in the Netherlands. That's the Go Ahead Eagles. So this news broke, and you can see on the same day, July the 3rd of 2025, that Go Ahead Eagles had this to say about their former player. In fact, look at the information. It's concise. It says former goalkeeper Peter Rufai has died at the age of 61. Rufai played for Go Ahead Eagles in the 1993-1994 season. His period in Deventer ended prematurely after he participated in the African Cup of Nations with the Nigerian national team without the permission of coach N. Tenkat. Nigeria won that tournament. Even if there was a disagreement between Peter Rufai and this club, which was a big story at the time, they still pay homage to his memory. And look at what they wrote next. Before his time in the Netherlands, Rufai played in Belgium, at Lokeren and Beveren, among other places. After his departure from Deventer, he was still under the bar in Portugal at Farense, at Gil Vicente, and in Spain, where he played for Hércules Alicante and Deportivo La Coruña. Rufai was a fixture in the Nigerian team for years and is considered one of the most influential African goalkeepers of his generation. Go Ahead Eagles wishes family, friends, and relatives of Peter Rufai a lot of strength in coping with this loss. I mean, that is a former, club. Not all of the clubs have done really well, right? Let's look at the club that he played for, Gil Vicente. This is Gil Vicente's, website. I've translated it. There's no mention. There's no mention of Peter Rufai. You see? Nothing. So, it is what it is. What shall we say? It is what it is. So let's go to one of his former clubs as well. That will be Sporting Farense. So same, they have so much information in their news section about outgoings and incomings and all of that, thing. No mention of their former player. So that's it. Let's see another club that he played for. He played for Deportivo La Coruña, and this is their site. See, they're talking about players going on loan and all of that. No mention of one of their, stars from the past, right? Okay. Let's see another club. This is Lokeren. He played for Lokeren in the Belgian league. You see, nothing. They even have something about Prishenko. If you look here, about Prishenko, leave Sporting. Nothing about Rufai, for the day. So let's go to one of the clubs he played for last. That's Beveren. So not even the club that he helped to qualify for UEFA Cup, for their inaugural Nations Cup UEFA Cup appearance at the time to pay him homage. Now, this is FC Beveren in Belgium. So out of all the clubs he played for, only two remembered him. So if you look here, let's what SK Beveren has said here is it's with sadness that the club learned of the death of Peter Rufai today. The goalkeeper was affiliated with our club for a season in the 90s. In his career, he also defended the goal of Gil Vicente, Deportivo La Coruña, Farense, Go Ahead Eagles, KSC Locoran, among others. Rufai was known as an exceptional goalkeeper, an inspiring teammate, and a warm person who was always ready with a smile. Our thoughts go out to his family, friends, and all those who loved him. Rest in peace, Peter. So I'm going to keep this one because it's a fantastic tribute to Peter Rufai. So today, we don't want to complain much. We just want to remember the man, the legend, the hero who brought so much joy, who made the goalkeeping department of the Super Eagles his own, who made it, who raised the standard to stratospheric heights, that so many good goalkeepers came after him and they were not able to fill his boots. We have Wilfred Agbonapare, we had Aloysius Atwebu, we had Ikesho Romo, we had good and great goalkeepers like that, but they never measured up to the level of Rufai. So that is just to tell you how legendary, how much of a colossus he was as a man, as a coach, as a player, as a colleague, and as a human. This is a guy who did not take on the throne of his fathers because he was dedicated to football. How can we forget a man like this? How can we forget Dodo Mayana? How can we forget a man whose talents spoke from 1,000 miles about him before you even see him? How do we forget a fantastic human being? So we remember you and we'll keep you in our hearts, Peter Rufai, because you have given us so much joy. You brought us so much joy, so much happiness, so much fantastic moments in our lives that we still cherish till tomorrow. We will not stop thinking about you at more sports. And hopefully we will not have to do another tribute. Our stars, we're going to live long. And you that is watching me, we're going to live long. So take care of yourself, take care of your health, take care of your loved ones, and enjoy the rest of your years and your days. God bless.